15 years ago, I was studying survivors of cancer, because only about 3% actually survive long term. And I wanted to know what they were doing. How come when most people die, there are some people who are surviving and thriving? So I was studying loads of things, but I was studying Chinese medicine. And I started reading the Chinese were using Fulvic and Humic Minerals. So what they are is soil-based minerals, and they are everywhere in the world. If you dig up some soil anywhere, there will be humic and fulvic minerals, and farmers have been using fulvic and humic minerals to make their crops more abundant and so on. And so while they're everywhere in the world, there are few places, not many in Europe actually. There's one famous place in Hungary, but it's in the United States where the best fulvic and humic, the most concentrated, comes from. And so when I learned about it, I started sending off for samples from all over the world. Usually fairly large bottles of liquid came through, and I would try it. Nothing. And then I sent off for a bottle, and I was really shocked. Instead of what I had been receiving, it was a tiny bottle, 50 ml, and it said that the 50 ml would last for 4 months. I thought, well, that's interesting. So I put 7 drops in a glass of water, and that was mid-afternoon. The next day, I wake up, and something's different, and my body just felt nicer. I felt more agile. I don't know what it was, but I noticed. And so I sent off for a gallon of it, and I started giving it to all my clients. So the first person who came back to me was a friend of mine who was 3 months pregnant. And she said to me, I was getting morning sickness really badly. 3 days after taking the fulvic minerals, no more morning sickness. It had just stopped. And morning sickness is not natural, right? Women aren't meant to get that. And it seemed to me that the fulvic minerals had somehow given her some boost. And then people started coming back to me. I had people saying my hair is growing better, all sorts of things across the board. And then I gave it to this woman who believed that she was going to die either that day or maybe the next day. She'd stopped eating food for about 6 weeks, and then she didn't want to drink water anymore. Anyway, she'd ordered some fulvic minerals and a couple of other things from me, and she said the moment that the fulvic minerals in water touched her lips, she knew she wasn't going to die. And indeed she didn't. She totally recovered. She'd been in bed for 2 years. 12 weeks later, she is back on her feet, walking around, essentially recovered. So I actually started a supplement company because of this one material. It's so inexpensive. In English it's £35 for 4 months supply. And results started flooding in of people getting these incredible results. As I say, I started a company just because of this one product, and it's still the best-selling product that I have. And as I say, it's so inexpensive, everybody should try it. So what it does is amazing. It is the ultimate detoxifier. Well, that's arguable, but it's this incredible detoxification agent. It detoxifies graphene oxide, which is in these nasty injections they're giving people. It's in the chemtrails. It neutralizes glyphosate, Monsanto Bayer's Roundup, which is in almost every food in the world. They're spraying the streets with glyphosate to kill the weeds. It's a herbicide, a weed killer, and it neutralizes it. It's amazing, and it helps to alkalize the body. It makes the cells more absorbent, so it goes into cells, neutralizes and removes toxins, and puts itself in. So if you think about the soil, let's say you go to an old forest. Now, everything that's ever lived or died has fallen to the forest floor, right? So all life is there. So this little bottle comes from this 1 mile deposit of soil in America. And so all they do is they pour water over and over and over again through this soil, and out comes this golden coloured liquid. And so 7 drops or 10 drops, if somebody's really ill, I suggest 10 drops 3 times a day in a big glass of water, and incredible results. There are lots of deposits in America, and one's got to be careful because the main deposits are in Utah, but I don't like that version. They reckon that the Utah deposit is maybe 100 million years old, whereas the deposit that we get ours from, the scientists reckon, is 30 million years old, not 100 million. Now, 30 million years old, when they look at the fossil records and so on, 30 million years ago, whereas everything was much bigger, there were 4 times the species of plants and mushrooms and so on, and everything was larger. You know, obviously there was a cataclysm at some point, or several cataclysms, so a lot of the species that were there aren't now. So you're getting this ancient collection of everything, and there are more interesting things to it. You see, the bacteria in our gut, which they say is 85% of our immune system, you wanted to talk about probiotics. Well, you can take probiotics from cows, or you can get probiotics from the soil, but Fulvic Minerals has a mineral in it, a trace element, called yttrium, which is spelled with a Y at the beginning, yttrium. Now, a bioscientist will tell you that there's no human cell in the body that uses yttrium, but the bacteria in our gut loves it. It eats yttrium, and because Fulvic Minerals, because of chemical farming, are hardly in soil anymore, you know, most people aren't getting enough yttrium.